Hey everybody, welcome. It is Monday at 7 p.m. That means it is time for 62 Who Knew. This is our 15th episode. We have a very special guest tonight that I'm going to introduce in a minute. But as always, I want to start out the way I always do. Number one, thanking everybody. Our last show, episode 14, this is 15. I think I said on the preamble that it was 16. I was off, today's 15. But our show last week had a little more than 26,000 viewers. I just got to thank everybody for that, especially the guests that I've had on, for the first 15 weeks. I do mostly just sitting here and listening and learning from these people. What's growing our audience is definitely our fantastic guests. So before we get to tonight's show, as always, for our first-time viewers, let me explain what 62 Who Knew is. Well, the truth of the matter is, we are all living longer. This is a fact that is just part of our lives. And it's always amazed me that people don't realize that that is a double-edged sword. It is a mixed blessing. People start to get real serious about retiring right around 62. They may think of it and prepare for it their whole life, but it's really when you get to be around 62 that you go, should I take Social Security? Should I defer it till later in life? Maybe I should have bought long-term care insurance. Did I have enough life insurance? Why did I cash in my life insurance policy? Did I put enough away for retirement? And when somebody sits down with you and you realize that almost 50% of this country, 50%, are already living to 90 years old, and with medical technologies and scientific breakthroughs, that number is even going to increase. The bottom line is about 1% of this country, 1%, can literally live from 62 to 90 on their savings. The rest of us are trying to figure out how to get to 90 with a quality of life. And that's what 62 Who Knew is about. Who knew when you got to 62 that, quite frankly, you may have another 30 years left? That's half the time you've been on this planet. So every week we bring on a different expert, whether it's Social Security, financial planning, health, long-term care insurance, life insurance, final expense insurance. The list just continues on, because if we're going to live to be 90, we want to do it in quality. And that's what 62 Who Knew is. So without further ado, thank you, everybody. I want to introduce you to our guest. Our guest is Miss Carroll Golden. You have to shake my hand. That's part of life. How you doing? It's part of the tradition.
Good
Carol,
tradition.
We met, is it almost 10 years? I know
At
we
least.
met at Peter Gelbach's life. If we take away the guests that were introduced to me by Peter Gelbach's, I think we'd have 2 shows, and I'd be sitting here with my children. But thanks to Peter Gelbach's, I was introduced to this great lady almost 10 years ago. She is a very, very well-known person in the long-term care arena nationally. And we can talk a little bit about that, because I hope you're here more than one time. Actually, I really do.
Thank you.
But tonight we're going to talk about something that I think is incredible. I have mentioned NAIFA several times in the last 15 weeks. NAIFA is the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors. Most certainly, to me anyway, in the last 10 years of my reverse mortgage career, has certainly been the most cordial and professional to me as I've traveled the country teaching about reverse mortgages and NAIFA events. I just love them as an organization. I do. And that's why I keep bringing people on from NAIFA. All the other organizations that I spoke to, you're all good too. Please keep calling me to speak. Please keep writing me checks. I'm not insulting you. NAIFA is my favorite. It's just that simple. But Carol is heading an endeavor. And I guess that's what I'm going to call it, a platform, a project, an endeavor that's kind of incredible. And I'm going to read this verbatim so I don't goof it up. NAIFA is creating the first of several specialty centers. Carol is director of the first one, and it is referred to as the Extended Care Planning Center, the LEC P Center. I'm going to say that one more time.
Limited.
The Limited and Extended, that's what the L has to stand for something, the Limited and Extended Care Planning Center. You are creating it basically from scratch. I mean, we've had some meetings about this. I think you're launching the pilot. January is the beta testing?
Well, actually, we're going to launch our beta on November 14th.
Oh, wow.
But to a selective audience. I think, as we both know, the whole industry has evolved a lot since 20 years, 25 years ago. But it's very fragmented. So that leaves the issue of what do I know about long-term care. The word extended care is a little bit new.
Yeah.
It came along kind of when accelerated benefits came along, which are hybrid products. And the issue is, when you go to Google anything about extended care, accelerated benefits, long-term care, it's a bit overwhelming.
Oh, very.
And you don't know, how did it get posted? Is it because the information has been really examined, or did they do something to jump to the top of the list? So NAIFA, in discussing this with their members, the members said, you know, what we need is a specialty center that focuses on all aspects of care planning. At that point, they came and they said, well, okay, should we start with the long-term care? Because it's one of those subjects that people hesitate to talk
Absolutely.
about. Who likes to know that you're aging? Not me.
That's right. Yeah.
For sure. And so it's a matter of increasing communication, trying to take all the bits and pieces. You know, there's probably 6 or 7 different options or solutions available. But when you hear long-term care, most people think historically.
Yes.
It's unaffordable, or it's a rate increase product.
I'll never need it.
I'll never need it. The denial is always there. So in order to really create a center that is useful to not only financial planners and agents, you know, we're starting with what we call the private side, where we have our sponsors who are helping us in terms of being part of our advisory council. So we're starting there, but we're definitely building a consumer side as well, so that consumers can come there and see how many options there are.
Right.
The way the site works is there is a landing page that you go to, and on the landing page there's boxes actually. So you pick a topic that you want to go into, and we can talk about the topics a little later. At that point, you go into that area and you actually see a very short video posted by one of our sponsors. If you're interested and you want to know more, these are short videos, 2 to 3 minutes. You could be in your car waiting to pick up your children at a football game or whatever. So we just want it to be something that you can use your device. This is a technology world. So this center is completely friendly towards social media, technology, everything that we're doing. You then listen to a video, say for 2 or 3 minutes, and you go, you know, I really think I need to know more about that. You click on their link. You get their name, their phone number, and a link. So there's no hesitation,
Right.
or steps.
There are a few different options to contact these people.
Right, but there's no middleman. There's no steps to go through. You're interested, you go ahead and you do what you need to do.
Do you think, I know the site's just launching, do you have to register for anything, give away your personal information? See that?
That's a good point.
Yeah, nobody does that anymore.
No.
Well, no, I shouldn't say that. Everybody makes you register, and that turns a lot of people off. I'm very interested, but I don't want to give away my information and get 37 emails the next day.
Exactly, and that's why you can go directly via a link to one of the sponsors, and you're in contact with them. What if you call them? You can decide what you want to share with them, what you want to ask them.
That's excellent.
NAIFA is just really trying to create a center that focuses on communication, education, all the different aspects of extended and long-term care. And we say extended because not everybody is interested in long-term care.
That's right, yeah.
You know, it could be a critical illness situation, or you need a home care agency. So it's not just about long-term care. Later we can talk a little about the current sponsors, and you'll see that we really spread the sponsorships out into different categories, so when someone wants information, they don't have to jump through hoops. They just have to kind of find it or contact me and say, this is what I want to know.
Yeah.
And then...
And the financial world is known for, not on purpose, but making people jump through hoops. I mean, even in my industry, a mortgage application has got to be one of the most intrusive applications known to man, what we do to people to give them a mortgage, whether it's a regular or a reverse. And again, it always staggers me, that when people hear the words long-term care, you correct me if I'm wrong, I have a certain knowledge of this because I've been fortunate enough to speak about reverse mortgages in long-term care events.
Right.
So maybe I have a little more than the average guy, but I'm certainly not an expert like you and a few other people. It just still amazes me when you say long-term care to people, how they recoil. They're still thinking that it's for their 85-year-old moms, it's a nursing home type of policy,
right.
And as we were discussing earlier, it's the total opposite of that.
Well, part of the name, the limited and extended care, but we were very careful to put the word planning in there. No matter what you decide to do, you need a plan. You need to understand what the impact of this need could do to your retirement. So when you retire, it's kind of too late to start planning because it's not the definition of planning.
No,
At that point, we're doing.
Maybe they need to Google plan before they look this up.
Exactly.
No, absolutely. Now, again, it's maybe 62. I love the name 62. Who knew? You know that. It rhymes, it sounds good, but really the time to be planning your long-term care future is mid-40s, 50s. It'll be cheaper, you're healthier, and again, and I don't want to get too much off track because you have written us an excellent summary, so I want to stick to that, but you already went over why NAFA is doing this.
But I think you make a good point. I think that, for NAFA, financial advisors, for agents, for anyone who is tackling the subject. Suppose you have a client and you've put them in a life insurance policy.
He didn't give me my minute warning. He's telling me it's time to go to break.
Okay.
Oh, I got a minute. Okay, thank you. That's good. I thought you were psyching me there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We have a minute. Keep going.
Okay. So you sell him a life insurance policy, and then later someone says, gee, does your life insurance policy have that accelerated benefit?
What's that?
So, even for those people who have currently life insurance or other products, for anyone who is asking you about it, you may want to go to the site and look at a comparison between critical illness, hybrid product, traditional. Maybe you aren't the one who is going to solve it for them, because part of what we're hoping the site does is help specialists communicate with others who aren't specialists in it and get a conversation going, communication, networking. We have a wonderful conference for long-term care, the Intercompany Long-Term Care Conference, and I think after the break we'll touch on...
That's in Chicago this year?
It's in Chicago this year, March 24th to the 27th.
The first segment always goes so quickly, but we'll be right back with a lot more great information. Thank you.
One bee that loves going to the dentist. I am Dr. B.
At Dr. B Pediatric Dentistry, we understand the individuality of each child
And they also teach us how to take care of our teeth.
and offer an exceptional and gentle dental care experience for all children. With our laser procedures, we are able to provide gentler treatments and faster healing time.
Come meet Dr. B.
They'll be calorie-free.
Call Dr. B's Pediatric Dentistry today.
Hi, my name is Mike Banner, and in addition to being the host of the 62 Who Knew television show, I am also the president of Professional Mortgage Alliance, where our passion is helping seniors entering retirement purchase their dream retirement home without the obligation of a monthly principal and interest payment. Please call me at 727-224-3859 or visit my website at professionalmortgagealliance.com.
Hi, my name is Lisa Marie Kennedy, your real estate expert here in the Sarasota, Lakewood Ranch, Bradenton area. I spent years developing myself, studying the industry so I can serve you and communicate with you the best way possible in your real estate transaction. My phone number is 941-807-2054, or please visit my website at lisamariekennedy.com.
All righty, we are back. We want to learn more about what NAFER is doing. We're having a very interesting conversation, though. People are down on insurance.
Yeah.
I think you got to get to a certain age before you realize it saves your life. Life insurance saves your children. I mean, all insurance is there to help you. And I think when you're younger, you look at it as kind of a necessary evil. It's not a necessary evil. It's what you should have to have a high quality of life, or at least your heirs should have if you're not around, to give them a high quality of life.
But for one moment, I'll go back to what you said when we went to break, that I mentioned a couple of different options, the hybrids, the riders, the reverse mortgage, funding, etc. And you said, I don't think a lot of people... No. And you see, that is exactly why NAFA, as a professional organization, said, okay, this is going to be difficult to build.
Yes.
And it has been, but the sponsors have really stepped up. We have 3 or 4 that I am still talking with, because after January, when we literally launch, it can't be a founding sponsor. We will continue to take sponsors, but the founding sponsors make up this advisory council. I have to tell you, I've been in this industry longer than I'm going to admit on air, but the idea is it is choosing sponsors that covers so many different aspects of the industry that has really made this an interesting opportunity for me to continue to learn. And I do continue to learn. You can't possibly know all of the different funding solutions. Look at reverse mortgages and how they have changed in terms of regulatory.
Yes.
I mean, when someone said to me, well, you should have reverse mortgages, my reaction was pretty much like long-term care.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, story of my life.
Yeah.
Redheaded stepchild.
Right. So we have now created these various boxes, and we feel, for example, the Society of Actuaries and the Intercompany Long-Term Care Conference, they have conferences which are so impressive. It's just a brain trust, anything and everything. They are adding to our research area, because some people will want to come on and say, how valid is all of this, and what kind of research tells me that the numbers or the likelihood or the regulations are really in place. So there's a lot of good research out there that we're doing. And then we're also having trends. We have Isobar is a company that is working with robotics. And as you know, Japan is probably 10 to 12 years ahead of us in terms of the demographics.
Yes.
So they are using robotics to do things that are boring, repetitive, and therefore that leads to mistakes. So they have robots doing that. Well, let me ask you, do you think we have enough nurses and doctors, facilities and independents to take care of the 79 million people who are starting to age into
not even close.
A little bit of help here and there, right?
Not even close.
So we are posting this rather interesting robotic to show that people get very attached to their little robots, I have to tell you. There was a TED Talk about last week where the woman was dangling a, I guess it was supposed to be a dinosaur. And the group each group had a little guy, and he was dangling upside down, and his arms and legs were going, somewhat like an infant when you hold him upside down. And all
How many infants have you held upside down? I'm a little confused.
Hopefully none.
Okay,
so, of course, the group reacted like you did when they said, oh, don't do that. Could you just put him down? This was a machine.
Isn't that amazing,
And
though,
they
to think
were
about robotics
empathizing.
performing services that are too mundane and too boring for humans? We're there. It's not even the future. We're there.
That's right.
It's just amazing.
Some
to
of
me.
them are really cute, too.
Really? Is it an extra premium if I want a cute blonde robot?
Well,
Do I get to program them?
I'll put you in touch with them.
Oh, I like this. Always love the Japanese people.
Right. So we have that area that we're posting interesting things that relate to, a more cheerful look
Yes.
at aging and needing help, etc. I think you'll agree that a lot of long-term care, extended care, focuses on dignity.
Yes.
That's a big factor. So these robotic things, they're not going to criticize because a little wrinkle here or there.
My robot's not going to say, you really need to get serious about that weight loss.
And then we also have an area that covers education and training. For education, our sponsor, the Intercompany Long-Term Care Conference, as we were mentioning, that'll take place March 24th to the 27th at the Sheraton Grand in Chicago, or I think it's the Grand Sheraton.
It's one of those.
It's definitely one of
It's a
those.
Sheraton.
Yeah. Well, I should look that up somewhere. I have it in my notes.
We should take 62 Who Knew live there.
We
That's what we
should.
should do.
It would be fun. It
John, you want to
really
go to
would.
Chicago? He just said no. He's still fun sometimes.
So, of course, NAFA has the LACP designation, and we have as a sponsor the Certification in Long-Term Care, better known as CLTC.
Best certification.
It absolutely is. So they are also a sponsor. So if you click on that box, you connect with them, and there'll be a discount associated with taking it through the site. We're also working on just plain old CE credits.
Good.
We would like this site that when you visit, if you need some more CE credits, and this is a subject that is of interest,
Yes.
I mean, how many times can I do a variable annuity?
Right.
Okay, so now I started doing outside of long-term care.
That's fantastic.
Into some of these other products, for example. We also have what you would call expert advice, because there will be some FAs and agents who say, okay, what do I really need to know here?
Yeah.
How do I start the conversation, right? Well, once again, because we want this to be easy for Michael to go in and use, we divided it into 3 categories. So you have the planning in advance category. We are talking with a sponsor who does all that documentation that you really need. Do it while you're healthy. It's
That's
not
right.
upsetting. And then this particular sponsor has a vault for it so that it doesn't get lost. Did you ever try talking to people about how much do you know about the plans your parents have?
Yeah.
It's a hard subject.
Yeah, very.
So at least this is something where it doesn't disappear in, God forbid, a hurricane. or-
One of our previous guests, just 5-6 weeks ago, was one of our most popular shows, created a book. It's going to be on our website. It was the most incredible thing, from the most serious of when do you want me to unplug, right down to what are your sign-on codes for your bank accounts.
Right.
Which once mom or dad are gone,
Exactly.
you don't know. Or you do know, but you're going on from a different computer, and it asks your secret code question.
Right. I wish I had brought that statistic of how much life insurance lays out there
Really?
unclaimed.
Yeah.
It's in the billions. I mean, it's
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's not a small number at all.
I don't want to get too far off track because like I said,
Oh, okay.
because
So after the planning in advance, where we get the legal documents and that sort of thing, the next category is pre-need, and here you're going to find the carriers, you're going to find the actual insurances, the different types of insurances and options and things like that. And then the third category is point of need. What if you're not insurable?
yeah.
We have to offer solutions and options. So this is where your reverse
I'm hoping
mortgage.
our industry can help in that.
Exactly. The life settlement industry that also got a very ugly rap is become much more highly regulated. And so we're talking with one of those companies that is, totally a stand-up company. It's just people should know about these options.
Yes.
So we'll have them there.
The common conception in the world is that the three most powerful words in the world are "I love you," and I have always maintained, don't get mad at me guys, that that's the second most powerful three words, "I love you." The first most powerful are conception beats reality, or perception beats reality. We'll conceive something together. That's later. That's for after the show. Perception beats reality. There is never a breaking of that rule. And it's just amazing to me that life settlements, long-term care insurance, reverse mortgages, three things that can add to the quality of tens of millions of lives. And yet when you mention them to Joe Blow public, they recoil.
Right.
I don't want to talk about that.
Exactly.
Why?
Well,
Because they're
long-term
bad.
care gets the same thing.
Yeah, long-term care, reverse mortgages, and life settlements.
Right.
They should be working with each other to increase quality of life, and we got to force this down the public's throat. It shouldn't be that way.
That's kind of the whole idea of the site is to make it so easy that we're not actually forcing
Yes.
anything. This is 2 or 3 minute video. If it's not something you want to know, the last part of expert advice is point of need and those subjects. But Genworth now has a SPIA. And
Please tell everybody what a SPIA is.
Oh, okay. A SPIA is a single premium immediate annuity.
I knew that.
And of course, what it does is it takes a certain amount of money and it leverages the money. The worse your health, frankly, the better.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that amazing?
Right. And yet, so many people are facing situations with their parents and don't even know
That it
that
exists.
product is out there. Exactly. And then another topic we have is the important one, which is community and networking. That's something like ILTCI. We have done this conference. This will be our 19th conference. And so what happens is we all know each other, right? It's like a homecoming thing. And so this March I'll go again and I see everybody in the industry and a lot of people from the cottage industry that has grown up around it.
Right.
So part of that community part is home care agencies.
Yes.
How do you know where to help a parent look?
We're going to start our next segment with in-home care. We just got a few seconds left. I think, if you could help me find a guest. I want to have a show just on SPIAs, because when I first learned about them, which was only several years ago,
Right.
And again, how did I learn? At an ILTC conference where I was the speaker, and then I stayed to listen to the next speaker.
Right.
We should have a show just on SPIAs.
I can help you with
Yeah,
that.
that's an incredible topic.
Done.
And then, of course, in-home care. We'll talk about that as soon as we get back. We'll be right back.
One bee that loves going to the dentist. I am Dr. B.
At Dr. B Pediatric Dentistry, we understand the individuality of each child
And they also teach us how to take care of our teeth.
and offer an exceptional and gentle dental care experience for all children. With our laser procedures, we are able to provide gentler treatments and faster healing time.
Come meet Dr. B.
The Becality Free.
Call Dr. B's Pediatric Dentistry today.
Hi, my name is Mike Banner, and in addition to being the host of the 62 Who Knew television show, I am also the president of Professional Mortgage Alliance, where our passion is helping seniors entering retirement purchase their dream retirement home without the obligation of a monthly principal and interest payment. Please call me at 727-224-3859 or visit my website at professionalmortgagealliance.com.
Hi, my name is Lisa Marie Kennedy, your real estate expert here in the Sarasota, Lakewood Ranch, Bradenton area. I spent years developing myself, studying the industry so I can serve you and communicate with you the best way possible in your real estate transaction. My phone number is 941-807-2054, or please visit my website at lisamariekennedy.com.
Good news.
Yeah, we were just, just for a few seconds, we were talking about on the break, which I thought was very interesting. There's so many different studies out there. 3 out of 4 people are going to have a long-term care event. You mentioned a new study where it's down to 53%.
53%. But I don't know what the cohorts
One of
were.
my favorite guests and one of my favorite speakers of all time is Bill Comfort, who's also, of course, an instructor for the CLTC designation. He was on a few weeks ago, and I love what he said. He said, Michael, forget all the statistics. It's either you get it or you don't. You're either going to have the event or not. You're going to be sick or you're not. You can't look up and go, oh, is the other 70% gone yet? And now it's my turn. It's you or not. That's so powerful when you think there's no odds. Either yes or no.
But it's planning. It's all about planning. And
nobody plans anymore. They really don't.
But I think NAIFA felt, or the financial advisors at NAIFA and the management, to tell you the truth, people are becoming so aware of the costs of health care. And no matter how you look at it, extended, long-term, a rider,
however,
it's health care.
Yeah.
So we all know that it's become extremely expensive. So now you're in retirement. You don't have a company or personal insurance.
No.
Now you have to really understand the limitations of Medicare.
Which are great.
And Medicare. And in terms of extended care, it's not good.
No.
Okay? It's not generous. It can't be.
Close.
It's really something.
Yeah. That's scary, and that's why I think people stay away from the scary stuff when they should be running towards it.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about the advisory council you put together, like an incredible group of people that are doing this.
Yeah, because this isn't the kind of thing you do alone.
That's right.
And so I thank you for your interest and your help. Our advisory council is made up basically of our sponsors. Our current sponsors include... are
there underwriters? Are they insurance carriers?
We have
maybe
carriers.
Maybe a reverse mortgage guy,
and
who knows?
What we've tried to do is somewhat, like I mentioned to you, we try to have a mixture because we're looking to have all these options. So, for example, we have Genworth, who has the largest book of business of traditional long-term care.
Let's face it, long-term care.
They also have that SPIA, the single premium.
We're going to have a show on this, annuity. I promise, just on SPIAs.
Okay, and then we have Thrivent Financial, which is a fraternal organization, and they emphasize...
Tell the public just for a second, what is a fraternal organization? Because that's not a term the public is familiar with.
It's an organization that includes faith and generosity and financial planning. They believe strongly in community. And
what an incredible thing.
Yeah, they are incredible, to tell you the truth. And then we have Nationwide, which is a huge
on your side.
And on your side. And in terms of being on your side, they have a really wonderful hybrid product. Hybrid meaning it's a life insurance policy that has an accelerated benefit. So it responds to the, if I don't use an insurance policy for one thing, can it help me with another?
Such as long-term care.
And Nationwide has a really good answer.
I've never understood, I've said this to Bill Comfort, I've said it to Mark Goldberg, why, unless you can't afford it, obviously money is a factor, why everybody doesn't have a hybrid product, a life insurance product with a long-term care rider. If you never get sick, which is a big thing in the long-term care, I'm never going to need it. Why should I pay it?
I know.
All right, you never get sick, you have a death benefit that far exceeds what you paid for.
Exactly.
You do get sick, you have a factor of that life insurance.
Right.
Where's the downside?
I don't know. It's kind of a fail-safe.
Yeah, there's no downside.
Right.
Everybody should have one. Not until I have an insurance license, but then everybody in the world should have one.
So we have quite a variety there, and we round that out with a career, New York Life, which is the third largest insurance company in America, and the largest mutual. So you can see that we have publicly traded, we have hybrid, we have traditional, we have group, we have employer, all in the carrier area, rather than concentrating and just getting one type, because the whole idea of the site is to be expansive. And then, you know, we will continue
To grow.
to grow. We're talking to another big carrier that offers yet another option or solution.
What was the name of the carrier that was so community-based and...
Thrivent?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not in your field.
Yeah.
That's amazing to me.
Well,
that
look
type
them
of,
up.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
I am going to do that.
Thrivent Financial,
Yeah, because
right.
again, people look at the insurance world. They're being, you know, the insurance world has been demonized for a long time. They won't make my claim. They won't this. They won't that. Which
Right.
is, you know, but they're there to save people, and it really is.
On the other side of it, though, we also knew that we would need distributors, because, you know, that old adage, if you make the dog food and the dog won't eat it, what have you accomplished?
That's right.
So you need to always have distribution, because they look at things a little differently than a carrier would,
Yeah,
let's
absolutely.
say. So we have Advanced Resource Marketing. They're out of Boston. They specialize in executive carve-outs. Their
And
thing,
again, explain. Just take 30 seconds. An
Okay.
executive carve-out.
I was going to.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you. But what it is this is for an employer. So they can fund long-term care for executives. Now, they can also attach a voluntary program to it. But what ARM does, Advanced Resource Marketing, I call them ARM.
Okay.
What they do is they create a revenue stream. Because, you know, in healthcare, you can get a broker of record, and all the work you did installing that healthcare plan can be given to another broker. That is not true in long-term care. There are no broker of records. Once you sell something, it stays with you. And I mean stays with you. I'm still getting trails from when I did worksite and individual sales. Trails meaning that as long as you keep your policy every year that you renew, I actually get a little cut of that.
We got 90 seconds. Boy, that segment went, so you sure? Okay, you're the boss, so I know you're sure. You're the producer.
Well, I want to take the 90 seconds to mention the other two that we
Okay,
have.
then I want to ask you a question about ARM.
Okay.
Go ahead and mention the other two, though.
Which is long-term care insurance partners, LTCI Partners, which is a fabulous firm. They have been working with financial advisors, employers, etc., for years and years and years. And so they kind of, somewhat like ARM, they take over all of the work. They know that there's a lot of financial advisors who, you know, their client may own a company or something. They want to pair up with someone who does a lot of that.
Right.
So that would be something that's available. And then the last one is Target Insurance, who a few days ago announced that they merged with Ash Brokerage. And so for Target Insurance and Ash Brokerage, they have a lot of tools. Remember in one of the categories, trends, for example, or our communications tools, we're going to have cost of care study. You know, you may just want to say to your client, look, I don't really know what it would cost. And these are down to communities, you know, and to
That's incredible.
counties.
People need to know this.
Also, there's calculators. So if inflation is at 3% and current cost for care is X, and we're talking about home care.
You know what it's going to be in 10 years. You have a calculator.
We're not even talking about institutional care of any sort. That when you figure out what it could be with inflation, that's when you know you might have
You look at
started
that number
planning
and you
some
go, yeah,
time ago.
yeah. Should have done
Right.
this at 52, who knew?
62,
Not
who
at
knew,
62,
right, yeah.
Maybe this should be
42,
52. Yeah.
let me know, is the sort of thing. And then as I
68,
mentioned,
it's just too late. Sorry. We got it. Do we have to go? All right, we're going to come back with our last segment.
One bee that loves going to the dentist. I am Dr. B.
At Dr. B Pediatric Dentistry, we understand the individuality of each child
And they also teach us how to take care of our teeth.
and offer an exceptional and gentle dental care experience for all children. With our laser procedures, we are able to provide gentler treatments and faster healing time.
Come meet Dr. B.
Free.
Call Dr. B's Pediatric Dentistry today.
Hi, my name is Mike Banner, and in addition to being the host of the 62 Who Knew television show, I am also the president of Professional Mortgage Alliance, where our passion is helping seniors entering retirement purchase their dream retirement home without the obligation of a monthly principal and interest payment. Please call me at 727-224-3859 or visit my website at professionalmortgagealliance.com.
Hi, my name is Lisa Marie Kennedy, your real estate expert here in the Sarasota, Lakewood Ranch, Bradenton area. I spent years developing myself, studying the industry so I can serve you and communicate with you the best way possible in your real estate transaction. My phone number is 941-807-2054, or please visit my website at lisamariekennedy.com.
Who's your client does.
Hello, we are back. Last segment. This is going way too quick. We are staying pretty good on topic, which is pretty good for one of my shows. But there's no doubt you have to come back because there's so much more to talk about. Again, it always gets back to longer lifespans.
It does.
How could you not plan for this? What's the use of being 90?
Yeah.
If you're not going to have quality of life.
Well,
And
what's the point of being 80 and starting to worry that you're going to run out of money, or God forbid you should get sick, given what healthcare costs?
Yeah.
It puts a cloud over a period of time in your life when you should really say, I'm glad I faced this, and now I don't have to face it because it's over there.
You know, one of the things that Tom Hegner, he was on our show 3 weeks ago, talked about was the stress of seniors worrying about things like this ends lives. It takes years off lives.
It does.
Anyway,
think of the statistics for caregivers.
well, that blew my... When Mark Goldberg... I mean, I got the chills just now when you said that. Mark Goldberg, I'm not going to try and quote him because I'll screw it up, but when he quoted figures of how caregivers are predeceasing the people they're caring for, that just blew my mind.
So we need a few robots to help.
Well, we need a few robots, and they need to have the proper insurance.
And
Why don't they have it?
They need the information to understand, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Okay. There may be some funding available that could mean they could bring in somebody to help them, but they don't know anything about that. So, you know, it's somewhat like homeowners or car insurance. I go online and I take a look at what's out there. But then, when I moved to Texas, I saw that there was wind insurance, and I thought, wind insurance? I never had wind insurance before. I called an agent and he said, oh, in Texas you want wind insurance, the roofs blow off these things like crazy. So I think it's the same thing here.
Yes.
We're hoping that once we get this organized, that we get our consumers, obviously it's going to be consumers who want more information, and we'll match them up with a member or a subscriber.
I think our children, or possibly our grandchildren, are going to do this without human involvement. But for the 10,000 people a day that are turning 62 years old in this country, they might look a lot of stuff up on your site. They might Google what a movie is like. They're still going to want to talk to an agent. They're going to look at houses online, but they're going to want to talk to a real estate agent.
Right, because you always have a question. You always say to yourself, do I really know enough? Have I really examined all this? So in creating this specialty center, that's why it's so broad. Why we'll have services. There are going to be presentations on claims and underwriting. Because if you're starting into this and you say, okay, let me describe the process to you. You, as an agent, need to know, is this an insurable person? Or maybe we'll just start with the documentation and make sure that we at least have health directives and all kinds of things in place. So I am very much still looking for sponsors, for people who have something that is of interest to you and I. I mean, we don't know it all. I mean, there's a lot that is being added to the site on a daily basis, from simple things like, how do I start the conversation since I only sold this guy life insurance? How do I start into this conversation?
Even talk about, long-term care. How do I bring it up?
I don't really want to know his health. So can I pair up with a specialist who's so accustomed to talking about options and costs and product and services, etc. So hopefully some of your...
How would people get a hold of you if they want to, whether it's an agent or a consumer or a company or an underwriter, if they want to be a sponsor, how do they get a hold of you?
I can be reached at cgolden@nafa.org. That's C. Golden, I think we all know how to spell golden, at NAIFA.org. Or frankly, my phone, 817-709-6859. Or call Michael.
For those of you that weren't sitting here with a pad and a paper, you can always go to the 62 Who Knew website. Go to Contact Me Now. Say, Mike, I'd like to talk to Carol. Mike, I'm interested in being a sponsor with NAFA, and I'll get you right in contact with Carol. As most of you see, we usually talk about this at the end of the show. The 62 Who Knew website is changing a little every week. You won't recognize it by the first of the year because, quite frankly, I'm modeling it after your site. I want people that watch our show to be able to go to 62 Who Knew and pull an expert from it on what we spoke about, whether it's this week or 4 shows ago, because that's the audience that we're building.
You know, it's funny that in this world, ultimately, communication is always going to be king. And the fact that the center uses technology, social media, to remind people and to bring traffic to the site, etc. But ultimately, it is about communication. It's about any financial advisor, an agent, or friend, or person who wants to talk about this and say, you know, let's do this now while we're healthy and it's not...
now.
Because all of a sudden we're 62.
Who knew?
And who knew?
I wasn't on camera. I'll do it again. Who knew? No, we were discussing different names on the commercial, like it could be 68 and it's just damn too late to get insurance, I'm sorry, or, you know.
But it's not too late to do some of the other options. So
let's talk about those because we have a few minutes left.
Right. So maybe it's funding through a reverse mortgage, or maybe through a SPIA, where you take, say, a CD with $100,000. That's going to go very quickly, especially if you're diagnosed, because healthcare is so expensive.
That's one major surgery.
So you look at something like that. Or I'll tell you what, Just recently, I went to my son and I said to him, you know how I bought you this life insurance policy when you were 18? You know, and he said, yeah. I said, I want to change that. I want to take the cash value out of that, and I want you to get, we went to Nationwide. I said, I want you to have a life insurance policy with it. You need life insurance, but at this point, I think you should update. So I don't want that to happen to advisors who have worked hard.
Yeah.
You know, even selling life insurance, that's not easy.
No, it's a rough subject.
So it's not fair to replace that. I want them to be able to say, look, before somebody else mentions it to you, let's talk about this. First of all, you have to be able to be insured again.
Yeah.
So it's just a conversation, but it makes you more than just a product peddler.
Yes.
It means that you know that these options are out there, and maybe you should use it. Or, let's say, very common, your parent owns a home, has equity in it, and they're fairly young. And they say, you know, I have all the life insurance I want. What about a traditional long-term care policy? Is it affordable? What can I do to make it affordable? We have to be able to
answer those questions.
Right.
Well, and bring up the topic to begin with.
And you said you had Bill Comfort on.
Yes.
And CLTC, you know, I am a CLTC. And interesting for me was that not only did they cover insurance, but they covered law, and they covered a lot of topics that dealt with elder care, and financial aspects of needing care, etc., not just insurance. So the designation really is very broad in its approach. But what they emphasize is not talking about product, talking about consequences, and I'm sure Bill Comfort...
Yeah, the first time I heard Bill speak, which was got to be close to 10 years ago, and again, Peter Gelbach walked me into a speech and said, you think you're a good speaker? Come listen to this guy.
Yeah, Bill
and it was unbelievable. It really, I just sat there like in the front row listening, and one of the things that he said that still sticks with me, and I use it, is that, you know, long-term care insurance is not a product, it's an event. And when he said that, I went, oh my God. I mean, that's... Yeah. It's deep, but it's so true. And then the other thing that's so unusual to me that this subject is sensitive is that I don't think anyone knows anyone that didn't have this sometime in their life.
Correct.
When their grandmother was dying, when their uncle was diagnosed with cancer. There is nobody from poor to middle class to rich. There is no color lines. There is no religious lines, ethnicity, where people can't go, oh yeah, I remember that was a real rough time for us. Did they have the protection? No, that we got 1 minute left. No, they didn't.
But you know, it's always been considered a product for rich people.
Yeah.
And it's funny. That's why they're rich.
That's right, because they protect their assets.
Yes, they're not going to lose it all.
All right, we have about 45 seconds left. I want to thank Carol. Thank you so much. Will you come back again after the new year?
Absolutely.
Okay, very good. Again, if you need to contact Carol, let me repeat it. It is cgolden@NAIFA, NIAFA.com.
No,
NAIFA.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it again. cgolden@NAIFA, NAIFA.org. I said com the first time. Our phone number is 817-709-6859. If I screwed that up too bad and you wrote down 3 different things, just go to 62 Who Knew. Tell me you need to talk to Carol. Carol needs sponsors. We have 10 seconds. It would be the best sponsorship you ever did for your business. We're looking for more sponsors here in 62 Who Knew. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.